In this video, we're building a French drain in a high sediment setting. I'm having this intro and this disclaimer because when I try to expand on the different French drains, when and where to use them, people just jump around, miss a lot of the details in the videos, unfortunately, and then they get in the comments section and, you know, want to reference all the yard drain French drains that we build so that we don't leave water behind for the tree roots. So we're going to start expanding on the different French drains. We're going to show you different settings, what we do in those settings. So for the young contractor and the DIYer, don't get too confused. Don't get screwed into the ground. Just stay focused. Watch the whole video for all the details. All right, everybody, enjoy. We have a ditch bottom that always stays wet. The guys are putting a French drain in the bottom of a ditch. We just had our tie-in inspected. The city inspector just left. The guys did a great job. They went ahead and used hydraulic concrete. They core drilled it, did a real nice professional install. Right as they got near the storm drain, they dropped it. They dropped the trench another 6 inches. We want to be able to empty out this trench completely. A lot of times when you tie in a pipe into a sidewall of a storm drain, if you don't drop it suddenly right at the storm drain, you can leave water behind in the trench. This is for several reasons. Some of your builds, you might have stone underneath the French drain. In this case, there's going to be a lot of sediment in this ditch. We're going to put stone underneath the pipe because we want an area for the sediment to settle. Instead of filling the pipe with sediment, we want it to settle in the voids of the stone. When you drop this off like 6 inches right before the storm drain, and you already have good slope, it's going to empty out all the stone that's underneath the French drain pipe. We're going to use non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been punched twice. Yes, this is going to help us, filtrate that sediment. There's still going to be a lot of sediment that finds its way into the system. We are going to use small stone because we also want to have a good stone filter zone around the pipe. There's going to be a lot of sediment in a ditch bottom. So you're battling the sediment. It's going to find its way through the non-woven geotextile filter fabric. It's going to find its way through the stone. And eventually it's going to find its way into the pipe. By building it like this, we're giving this drain a life expectancy. I don't see why this drain wouldn't work for 50 years the way we're installing it. So I can guarantee this homeowner this is going to work for their lifetime. We are going to grow grass over this. Now we're using the high-octane 8-slot. We are going to put down 2 8-slot pipes. Now we are going to use the French Drainman high-octane armor extra heavy duty. That's what the extra HD stands for, extra heavy duty. Of a 100-foot pipe, that's a lot of material. There's going to be a lot of sediment in this ditch bottom. We're battling sediment in a ditch bottom. We want to filter it out every way possible. So we're digging out a lot of soil that has sediment in it. In this environment, we want to filter that out. We're using our non-woven geotextile filter fabric. It's been double punched, as well as a small stone. You can see all the pea stone in here. Look how small the stone is. Pretty small. We want a good soil filter zone around our pipe. We're going to put a few inches of stone underneath our pipe too. And we have it pitched so that all that stone will drain out. And we drop down drastically 6 inches real sharp right at the storm drain, just to make sure that there's no water in that stone bed. We want to have a stone bed under the pipe so when sediment is entering the system, it doesn't plug the pipe. Basically, we want voids under the pipe so that the sediment has a place to go. This trailer's almost full. So we got 2 big 20-foot gooseneck trailers. Guys are doing a great job. 244 feet of French drain in the ditch bottom. It's a big system. We're going to take care of all that standing water. The homeowners just had it with the standing water in the bottom of this ditch. That's pretty common. You can see where it killed the grass. Standing water sits there. They're going to be able to grow grass in this ditch. And it's really going to help this system work more efficiently. All the grass roots growing through that non-woven geotextile filter fabric. When you have grass roots growing through your non-woven geotextile filter fabric, the water finds its way into the French drain pipe through capillary action and gravity. This drain is going to work really efficient. We're going to filter out sediment 3 ways. We're growing grass on the system instead of doing an open French drain. So there's your first line of defense of filtering out the sediment that floats down ditches. Then we have the non-woven geotextile filter fabric. That's our second line of defense for filtering out sediment. And then our third line of defense is a really good small stone so that we have a good soil filter zone. You want to have a really good soil filter zone around your pipe so that the sediment doesn't plug your pipe. So 3 lines of defense. To protect the stone and pipe from sediment, we're going to fully encapsulate this system. If we don't use the non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been double punched, the ditch sediment is going to clog the French drain. Once the grass roots are growing through the fabric, the water will travel down the grass roots via gravity and capillary action. This system's going to dry up the bottom of the ditch. They're never going to have standing water in the bottom of this ditch. The water that's inside that culvert pipe, it breeds mosquitoes and it has a pungent odor. Stagnant water is not a good thing. So it's nice that we're able to move that water out of there. We'll be able to keep that culvert dry. There'll never be water standing in that culvert ever again after we put this system in. New for fall of 2024 is this stamp. The pipe is so thick, they're not going to stamp it heavy duty anymore. They're going to stamp it extra heavy duty. The pipe manufacturer wants to properly represent this thick sidewall that we're making. That instead of a heavy duty stamp, it's getting an extra heavy duty stamp. French Drain Man's high-octane armor pipe is stronger than PVC pipe. It does not crack, it does not split, it's not brittle. It'll go up and down with the shifting of the ground. Any settling of the ground, it's not a problem.
Yard drainage pipes are really shallow. Agricultural pipes and road construction pipes are deep. You need a thicker sidewall to protect a yard drain pipe.
The men laid out a couple 100-foot pipes. This is over 200 feet of French drain. Beautiful, beautiful system that the men are building here. The homeowner's been weed whipping this ditch all year. Now it's late August. We're finally getting on this job. We've been waiting for it to become workable. We've had a really wet year. Love what the men have done. Homeowner is not going to have to weed whip this anymore. We are going to grow grass on this. It's going to help filtrate any sediment that's flowing down this ditch. That works great. That's our first line of defense, is having turf grass on top of the French drain. Then the non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been punched twice. That's the second line of defense. Our third line of defense is going to be our stone filter zone. We're using a really small stone on this job, and we're putting several inches under the pipe so that the sediment has somewhere to settle. In the voids of the stone, the sediment can now collect versus the bottom of the pipe. This is an extreme case of sediment, and we see these drains often, and we do this often. This is something we do quite often. I haven't really made any videos on it, but I'm going to start showing things that are outside the scope of our usual blueprint that works 85% of the time. Now, we like a wider trench with 2 pipes, because now the sediment in a low flow application where you can't wash it out is spread across a larger area. So in a narrower trench, the same amount of sediment would be high up in the pipe. We love 2 pipes for a lot of reasons, and I can't stress this enough. We have a lot of slope on this, and right at the storm drain, we drop off abruptly so that the few inches of stone that's under the pipe drains out completely. Now, eventually sediment will clog the stone that's under the pipe. There's nothing we can do about that. We're building it for that reason. We're building it like this for that very reason, so that we have void under the pipe to collect sediment over time. But until it's full of sediment, it will drain out, because right at the end of the French drain that already has a lot of slope, it drops off abruptly, draining out all the stone. Once the voids no longer contain water because they're full of sediment, it'll still work fantastic. We bought this drain decades by building it this way. If you want to prescribe and subscribe building them without non-woven geotextile filter fabric, that's fine. Still need them built the way I just described. You're going to want stone under it. You're going to want small stone. You need a stone filter zone.
We're going to install some root barrier. There's a tree really close to this storm drain, and the roots were inside our trench when we dug it. We want to put in a really good root barrier, so we cut out some of our non-woven geotextile filter fabric, and we're replacing it here at the end of the system with a really good root barrier. There's many root barriers on the market, and then you could make your own root barrier out of certain building materials.
So the men are putting in a root barrier. That's not non-woven geotextile filter fabric. That is a root barrier. It's really stiff. It comes in sheets. And you can just see how the men have to work with it. We actually cut out that piece of non-woven geotextile filter fabric so that we can put in these sheets of root barrier. We have this one tree, and if it was on the opposite end of the system, I wouldn't even care. I wouldn't even go to all this trouble. I wouldn't spend this kind of money on that type of thing. I would have saved the homeowner some money. But this tree right here, it happens to be right at the discharge, right at the storm sewer. There's roots in our trench right in here. Don't like it. The whole thing is going to be completely clogged and plugged in no time with roots. So we're putting in a really good root barrier sheeting.
We built a quad pack. We have 4 4-inch pipes. We're using the extra heavy duty sidewall because this is very shallow, and when the lawnmower is on that angle inside the ditch, all the weight is going to be transferred to the wheel down inside the ditch, meaning all the weight of that lawnmower is going to be put on our French drain system, on our pipe. So we want to have the extra heavy duty pipe. We're using a quad pack, so we have a lot of area. We're going to move a lot of water. Another advantage that we're going to have to a quad pack, if that storm drain backs up, we have a detention tank. We're going to be able to hold a lot of water in this quad pack. Once that storm drain gets caught back up, then that quad pack that's holding all that water can then start to drain out. I like to brag on my crew. These guys work like no other crew. All this work that you're going to see in this video was done before lunch, and lunch is noon sharp. Now, we ran out of pipe, but our driver went to go dump dirt and grab more stone and to grab more pipe. Watch closely when we start backfilling this system with all the small stone. Notice how all the small stones fall between the pipe and the non-woven geotextile filter fabric. That's really important. We want to have a really good stone filter zone. You need really small stone for a good stone filter zone. Watch how the men work this small stone in. It's important to work all the stone between the pipe and the fabric. Get a really good stone filter zone.
This was only 2 pipes. This was not 4 pipes. And it just got shallower and shallower to the point to where there was no pipes right here. It's just stone. Just ends just like that. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pin this fabric and trim it, and then this side's gonna be an open French drain. This is what the homeowner wanted because the neighbor has like stone in the bottom of the ditch right there, so they wanted to match that. There's a sump line that runs all the time, so it's best that that's just an open French drain. This can be grass. It's going to work out really, really well. It's going to work out really nice.
What built our reputation for building the best yard drain French drains? We give our customers their money's worth in stone and pipe.
You can see how the stone goes in between the two coils and it goes up against the trench wall and the coils. That small stone forms a soil filter zone. Those pipes are going to stay clean and sediment free. You can see how Francisco's holding all those pipes in place. Really nice install. Amazing attention to detail. All right, I had to step away to go run my business. So I'm actually coming back a couple weeks later. We went ahead and we put sand on the fabric. And then we pinned the fabric and put the sand on top. And then we went ahead and put some soil on top. Now, we didn't put topsoil on top because it's just going to get washed away in the ditch. So we went ahead and we used the seed and then a lot of straw. When this straw biodegrades, it's going to feed the grass plant and it's going to thrive. You can see all the seed is popping. We have a lot of young plants. They've germinated. This thing's going to be a chia pet in another couple weeks. They'll have mature turf grass here in another 6 weeks. So we have grass growing on top of this drain. The roots are going to grow through the fabric, and that's how the water is going to travel down into that French drain. We want to filter out all the sediment that's going to travel down this ditch. The guys did a really nice job. Now over here they wanted an open French drain because there's this sump pump discharge line. And it just runs and runs and runs. And the neighbor has this just open dry creek bed look, but most of the time that thing's running. It's late August, and that's why it's finally dried up, and that's why we're able to jump on this too. So this is a perfect example of a French drain in a high sediment soil application when you know you're going to have a lot of sediment that you're battling. You want to build your French drain accordingly. All right, everybody, if you appreciate the wide variety of examples of French drains that we're showing on this channel, give us a thumbs up. It supports what we're doing. If you want to see more of our expansive blueprints for French drains, let me know in the comments section. Until that next video.